Welcome to a new episode of Deals on Heels. My name is Lotje. I'm a business mentor who helps entrepreneurs to fall in love with sales and create customers for life. And today I'm going to discuss a topic that I really like. It is about how to make sales feel like fun and make it feel more joyful. And I know this is a big topic for a lot of entrepreneurs who need to sell their offer because without selling, no customers are coming in and no money is coming in. But they still feel like sales is not really their cup of tea. And maybe you feel like this as well. Maybe you're just seeing sales as something you must do, but you don't really like to do. And today I want to help you to change your mindset towards sales. So I'm going to give you a lot of insights and tips on how I help my own coaching clients to make sales feel like fun, but also I will share with you what worked for me when I just started my business and what didn't work. Okay, so the first thing I want you to focus on in order to make sales feel like more fun and more enjoyable is to really know what your strengths are. What is it that you're really good at? Where do your talents lie? What are your strengths? And what are you not good at all? Because when you want to make sales feel like more fun, there's no point of doing something that you're not really good at. Often we also don't really like to do things we tend to fail at or we're not really good at. So in order to increase the amount of joy that you feel when you're doing sales, you need to really figure out what it is that you're naturally good at. What are your God's given talents? What are your strengths? Are you, for example, really good at networking, connecting with other people, or writing these insane emails? Are you really good at creating content, in writing stories? Or maybe you're really good at going live, talking on videos like I'm doing today. You need to know where your strengths lie because this will be the basis of your sales strategy. I have coaching clients who are really good at connecting with other people in real life. So what I would advise them to do is to go to network events, to go and meet other people in life, because that is how they will automatically become better at selling through connecting with other people. But maybe you're really good at creating really amazing content, writing lots of amazing stories, and maybe you're already doing that on social media, for example, or maybe you're already doing that by sending emails to people, or maybe you get a lot of website visitors because your texts and your content is so amazing. But I also have customers who don't really like to network with other people, but they're, for example, really good at being creative in creating videos, and they love to create more video materials, and they love to create reels, for example, and they're really good at making content that really speaks to people. So you really need to know where your strengths lie and what you're really good at, because those are the typical things that give us more pleasure and enjoyment. The second thing is, when you wrote down all of your skills and your strengths, is that you base your sales strategy upon these skills and strengths and talents. Okay, so when you're really good at writing emails, like converting emails, then you can set up a sales strategy that makes use of these skills. So in this case, it would be really logic for you to create a freebie and creating this really amazing funnel to attract clients to buy your offer. But if you don't really like to write emails and you love to be very creative with your content, then you could also create your sales strategy based upon these skills. For me, for example, I love to be very creative with content, and I feel like I can use this creativity by making all kinds of stories, and this is the way that I've closed over 40 deals last year, by creating stories, by creating lots of attractive content in these stories, because I love how you can connect with people through stories, and I love the interactive elements that you can add in stories. But that's the way that I love to sell. Maybe you're really good at connecting with people online through groups, and building relationships with people who are in these groups. And maybe this can be the basis of your sales strategy. I don't really care about whatever strategy you choose, as long as you know that you are the one who needs to make it work. You are the key element here. You can't say in advance if a strategy is going to work, but what you can do is decide for yourself, I'm going to create this strategy and I'm going to make this work. I'm staying loyal to this strategy. I'm staying loyal to consistently executing it. And I'm going to show the world, but I'm going to show myself, most importantly, that this strategy will work for me. There are all kinds of strategies that you will see other entrepreneurs using, and it might be tempting to borrow their strategy, but when it doesn't match with who you are and match with your talents and with your skills, then you won't be as successful as they are. So don't get distracted by what other people are doing, but try to create a strategy that works for you and that really makes use of the skills and talents that you own. Another thing that I want to advise you on today is that if you're a bit like me, then you get bored very easily. So if I would only choose one channel to sell my offer, I would get bored very quickly and I would never be able to stay consistent at selling my offer. So what I did is I've chosen different channels to sell my offer to make it more fun for me, and maybe this might work for you as well. But there are also people who have a hard time by focusing on all different channels and find it very complicated and distracting. So if that's you, then I would advise you to not choose a very large set of different channels, but I would advise you to only choose 1 or 2 channels. But in my case, and if you're a bit like me and you get bored easily, and when this is also in your human design because you are a generator or a manifesting generator or a manifestor, then just choose the channels that you really love and that you love to be on and you love to work with. I'm using a lot of different channels. I'm using social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, but then I also have my newsletter and I also use LinkedIn, for example. Just choose the channels that you really like. The advantage that this will give you is that when one channel falls away, for example, when your Facebook account gets blocked or your Instagram account gets blocked, then you have these other channels that you can use to sell your offer, so it won't hurt your sales process. What's also very important, and you will hear lots of business coaches talk about this, is to stay consistent. And consistency sounds so boring, but it's really the key element that will make your strategy a success. And consistency isn't always fun. And it won't always feel like fun. It will feel sometimes like an obligation. And that's perfectly fine, because you just need to make it fun for yourself. So if you're feeling like really low vibe on posting today on Facebook, for example, then ask yourself, how can I make it fun today for me? How I do that is to do something completely different, like creating a different piece of content, or going live, or using my stories, or making a carousel and putting lots of different images there and using my own creativity to make it fun. So find a way to stay consistent that makes the consistency feel like not a huge weight on your shoulders. And why is consistency so important? It's important because you need to stay on top of mind with your potential customers. We all get so much information overload through all the channels we're using, through the videos we're watching, through the reels we're watching, through all the content we're consuming on the internet, that it's really important to stay top of mind for your own audience, so they won't get distracted by others. If you want people to think about you, if you want people to buy from you, you need to be very consistent in the way you show up, because otherwise they will go to your competitors who will be consistent on the social media. I see social media as an important part of being an entrepreneur. It's just a part of my job, and that's why it doesn't take any effort to stay consistent in showing up, because I really see it as my job. It's my job to be on social media. It's my job to show up. It's my job to stay consistent in showing up, because just posting one piece of content really won't make a huge difference. But posting different pieces of content every other day or every day, you need to choose your own frequency, of course, but those things will all add up towards creating even greater sales results. And find joy in the customers you will attract by staying very consistent. That is the way that I motivate myself to keep showing up, even when I feel like, well, why am I doing this, or is anybody reading my content anyway? That's how I felt when I just started this business. I was so busy with social media, and sometimes I was wondering, like, but why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing it because it's part of my job. It's part of building this online coaching business. So really find your own motivation for staying consistent. Okay, so what to do when you don't have these high vibes and you don't really feel like selling. I believe that life is 50-50. We have these good and amazing times where we feel on top of the world. But you're also human. I'm a human. And sometimes I don't feel like on top of the world. I just want to lay in my bed with a warm blanket and my favorite Netflix show. And sometimes I really feel depressed or I'm feeling down. But how I handle this is that I found a way to pull myself out of this low vibe and to get in my high frequency again. And the way that I do this is usually by taking a hot bath, or getting my nails done, or going shopping, or playing piano, or go dancing, or go working out. These are the things that really pull me up and bring me back into high vibes. So you need to find your own way to pull yourself out of these low vibes whenever you're feeling depressed or whenever you're feeling down or demotivated. So then I wouldn't advise you to go selling in that vibe, because people love to buy from other positive people. When you're negative, nobody will buy your offer. So whenever you're feeling down, it's totally okay. It's totally fine to go through whatever you need to go through, but find a way to get out of that again. Find a way to make yourself feel happy and excited and enthusiastic again. And if you're back in that vibe, then that is the moment to start selling again. Okay, and the last thing I want to discuss, and this is really a trap that lots of entrepreneurs fall in, is that they tend to focus too much on the short-term results. So I didn't build this business to sell this week to potential customers. No, I'm building this business because I have a much bigger vision. I have a much bigger goal. I have a much bigger idea of how I want to live my life and how I want to build this business. And so whenever the short-term results aren't that well, it doesn't get me distracted or it doesn't upset me, because I know I'm creating something so much bigger, that the short-term results, they don't really matter to me. What matters to me is that I'm building this business for my long-term results, for my long-term goals, for my big vision of how I want to set up this business. So when you're executing your strategy, don't focus on short-term results. Don't focus on the direct sales you will or will not get, because what we're doing here is so much bigger than the direct results we're getting, you know, and see every step that you take as a building block of building this amazing life and business that you have in mind. I see this often happen with my own customers, that they're executing their strategy, and after a week I ask them, like, how does it go? How did it go this week? And I can tell when they're just too short-term focused, because then the first thing they will say to me is like, well, I didn't sell anything. But that's not really the goal of executing your strategy. No, the goal of executing your strategy is to stay active, keep taking steps, keep moving, keep building that business, keep believing that everything that you do will add up to your bigger goals and your long-term vision. So if we tend to focus alone on the direct result we're getting, it's very easy to get distracted and disappointed and frustrated. But when you focus on the long-term results and you know that everything that you do will eventually add up, then the sales process itself will feel like more fun, because you don't give yourself the chance to get frustrated or disappointed by the direct results that you're getting. I'm always focusing on the process that I'm following here, and I help my clients to do the same, to not focus on what it's giving them now, but what it will give them on the longer term, in a longer period. For example, when you have this podcast show and you create one episode, it won't really make a difference. But if you will stay consistent and create a podcast every week, then eventually this will end up to an amazing show with lots of episodes, giving lots of value. And if you keep trusting on adding that value and creating that content, these customers will also eventually show up. Like, it's just the logic results of all the work that you're putting in. And if I look back at when I started my business, I would become so easily disappointed by the short-term results. While actually when I look back, I'm thinking like, why was I getting so frustrated at that moment, at that time when I launched my product? Because little did I know that the next customer would arrive even just a few days later. So it doesn't really make sense now to really let myself be so easily disappointed when I always had like new clients coming in eventually. So let's decide to skip that part for now, okay? Decide for yourself that you won't get disappointed when the results don't show up immediately, but trust that the next buyer is on its way, because they always are. They are always on their way, but we don't know on what timeline. And the timeline that your potential client has can be very different from your own timeline. So don't decide for other people when they need to buy and become really frustrated when it doesn't happen, but really anchor in that feeling of trust and belief in that everything that you're doing right now will eventually add up, and that the next customer is always on its way. It's just a matter of time. It's really a matter of executing these actions, executing your strategy, stay really consistent in doing it, and just trust on the fact that the next buyer will come to you. It's just only a matter of time. And I got this question from an entrepreneur, and I want to address this question right now. So the question that I got is, I don't love my offer right now. What can I do? Okay, so maybe you're feeling the same way. Maybe you don't really love your offer right now. Maybe you don't really feel excited about your offer. And maybe this is an obstacle in selling your offer. But what I asked this person was, would you also feel not excited when 3 people would come in today and buy your offer? Because if it would make you feel more excited about your offer, then it's not the actual offer you don't love. You just don't love that you're not getting any results with it today. So then it's more about the process and enjoying the process rather than the product. The product is not the problem here. It's really that you're not getting any results and that you have a hard time moving through that uncertainty. So if you're feeling the same way, if you don't love your offer right now, then ask yourself, if 3 buyers would come in today, would you then also not love your offer? And if you wouldn't, then there's something wrong with your offer, of course. But if you would, then there's nothing wrong with your offer. It's just the process around it. And then you might be too focused on short-term results that you're not getting right now because there are not a lot of people buying your offer. So really separate these two from each other. Is it really the product that you don't love, or is it the process that you're building and the results you're getting with it that you don't love at the moment? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you liked it, then please give a thumbs up. I would really love that. If you have any questions or comments, then just put them below. I love to read them. And you can always follow me on Instagram or join my Facebook group, the Feminine Sales Club, where I give lots of advice and tips and insights on how to sell your offer. And yes, I hope you enjoyed today and hopefully see you in next episode. Bye bye.